So here I'm looking at the process of just scanning in an image. So here I've scanned my sketch onto the computer and opened it up in Photoshop. So there's a few things that we need to change here. Now firstly, my whites, so my sheet of paper which is supposed to be white is not quite white. It's bits of grey, we can see there's lines here, and parts of my image aren't as strong as they need to be. We also have marks where I've scanned it in badly, so areas that are look kind of unneat and quite bad. So we're going to look at a few problems and how we can solve them. So before I start, the first thing I'm going to do is go to Image and Adjustments, and we're going to use a thing called Levels. So Command and L is the shortcut. Now Levels is great for black and white, allows us to adjust our values. I'm going to show you how to use it now. So with Levels we have our blacks, our midtones and our whites, and this black graph here is a representation of the colours that's on our canvas. So I can tell, looking at this graph, that the majority of the colour is near the white, and there's a little bit of black but not much. So it's mainly white, and you can see if we look on here there's more white than there is black or greys. So as I bring in the whites, what happens here is all these colours in this black graph here will be pure white, so anything behind this is pure white. And you can see as I bring this in, my canvas gets brighter and we start to lose some of those marks. So usually bringing it to about the peak of a scan is a good way to look at it. So the problem with that is that we can lose part of our image. Our image can start to brighten up, not look like the original. So I can adjust my midtones and bring them in. And again, what this is doing is anything in between here is more black. So we're moving out where our 50% is. And you can see it makes it darker. So we can adjust this, and we can also bring in our blacks. So anything behind the black marker becomes solid black. So we can use this to strengthen our blacks, make sure our whites are good, and we're happy with our image. Once you're done with that, we can click OK. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is sort out a few things. So I've got a few marks on my image. Now what we can use for this is a thing called the healing brush tool. Now if we select it here, so the shortcut is J, now make sure you click and hold just to make sure you're on the right one. Now there's two that look very similar, don't get them confused. We're going to be using the spot healing brush tool, so make sure you've got the top one selected, and again you can select the subtools by clicking and holding and then just clicking on the tool you want. So for this one I'm going to zoom in a bit so I can see what's going on. And when I was drawing my image, I accidentally smudged bits of ink like this. So this could be marks on the lens, it could be dirt from the scanner, it could be all sorts. So this is a good representation. Now I don't want these, I want to get rid of them. Now firstly, with this spot healing brush you want to make sure it's bigger than what you're filling in, and you can see my little circle is quite small. So in this top left hand side where we see a number and a icon, we can adjust the size and make it bigger. So something around 76 with mine, it seems like a good value, just make it a tiny bit bigger. And make sure you have content aware tick. Now content aware means that the computer will look at the surrounding area of where you click and work out what you're trying to get rid of and fill it in. So as an example, if I click here, because the outline of the circle, the things near the edges are more white, the computer will recognise that you need to fill all the middle bit in with white. So if I click, it disappears. And I can use this to get rid of my marks, like so. So just clicking and getting rid of the marks I don't want. So the healing brush tool is really useful for neatening up marks, bits of dirt, anything that you've smudged or missed or that you don't want. To make sure that we've got a nice clean image before we move on. I'm just going to zoom back out now. So it's a bit neater already. We're getting ready to, we're preparing it for later colouring. Now it's not the right way round. So we can use the crop tool. Now the crop tool I'm going to set to unconstrained, and I can drag it and get rid of these edge bits as well. So I'm just going to use the crop tool like so and just drag in each corner to kind of get to an area we want. And I'm going to click OK. Now it's also rotated the wrong way around. So I could use the crop tool and rotate it. Now this is a bit of a hassle because now I then have to drag my edges out like so. However, it does rotate it and does do a good job. One thing we can use if we just want a solid rotation, if we go to image and image rotation, you can see there we have clockwise, counterclockwise, or 180. We also have some flips. Now I'm going to move this 90% clockwise, and you see it rotates as easy as that. So there's a few tools that we can use once scanning an image to neaten it up a bit. And again, I might just want to get rid of that black there. And remember with the crop tool, if this is all waste and we're not going to be using it, make sure we delete the cropped pixels by clicking this button up here and click OK. So now my image is ready to move on and ready to work on. So I've scanned it in, used levels to adjust it, used the healing brush to get rid of marks, and cropped it and rotated it to fit.